Thank you, Father Pius, and good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see you all here. By a show of hands, can I ask, how many here have law degrees? Good, excellent. We're in good company then. It's good. You are here at the home of the greatest lawyer in American history, Daniel Webster. Spent most of his life here. Came to Congress and started in 1813, exactly 200 years before I came to Congress, and started off in the House of Representatives. Then in 1817, he went back to practice and really argued the most consequential cases before the Supreme Court of the United States. The Dartmouth College case, Gibbons versus Ogden, McCulloch versus Maryland, and they quoted his arguments in their opinion. So influential he was. But I asked you if you're lawyers because I am too, and I'm awfully proud to be a lawyer here in this land of laws that we call America. Webster said, "The law, it has honored us. Let us honor it." And he said, "I invoke those who fill the seats of justice and all who minister before her altar to execute the wholesome and necessary severity of the law." That's what Webster said about the law. And I want to talk to you about legal services this afternoon because it is true that the law can be severe if you're on the wrong end of it, criminal or civil. And it is true, as Director Rossi just told you, that there are nowhere near enough of the people who minister before the altar of justice to take care of the people who need their help. And that's why I am a fulsome supporter of the Legal Services Corporation. My wife is also a lawyer. Marion Munley is her name, in Scranton, Pennsylvania. We started a legal services clinic, the two of us did, and we opened it up in a neck of the woods that it's called the Back Mountain in northeastern Pennsylvania, and it's thought by most to be a fairly affluent area, pretty well-off group of residents there. But one thing you find out when you open up a legal clinic in a place that you think is affluent, poverty doesn't come out and show itself. We saw cases that were heartbreaking. I had a woman come in one night, and her husband had just died. And she was a nurse. He died of cancer. It took him well nigh 3 years to pass away. And she nursed him in his illness and through his end. So she wasn't working, and he wasn't working, and they had nothing coming in. And what did they live on? They lived on credit cards for close to 3 years, buying groceries, paying for the heat. And they racked up, obviously, an enormous credit card debt. Actually, it wasn't as enormous as it would have been if it had been I spending the money, but it was about $60,000 in credit card debt that they racked up on groceries. And she came in and she was being sued by one of these companies that buys up credit card debt. And you know that they don't buy these cases one at a time. They buy tractor-trailer loads full of files of these cases, and they're all on assignment from the original creditor to the debt collection company that is now the plaintiff. And I said, well, let me see the complaint. She handed over the complaint, and you know what I was looking for. I was looking for the written assignment of rights. which in Pennsylvania, at least, was a requisite element of the complaint of such a thing. And I looked at it, and it wasn't there. And we went to court in Tunkhannock, Wyoming County, Pennsylvania, and I made my argument, and the necessary severity of the law prevailed, and we got her out of that debt. And that's the kind of thing, Father Pius, that floats my boat. And that's the kind of thing that makes me want to support Legal Services Corporation, and that's the kind of thing that made me want to run for public office, to achieve that kind of justice, to achieve that kind of thing for people who need it. You know, because if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't looked at that complaint, if somebody with a trained eye hadn't seen what was going on there, she would have been stuck. She would have lost her house. And that's why, as chairman of the Commerce, Justice, and Science Subcommittee of Appropriations, I'm very proud to tell you about the progression of funding we have given to the Legal Services Corporation over the last 10 years, which is my tenure in the Congress. In 2013 fiscal year, $341 million was the figure for LSC. The next year it went up to $365 million. The next year, 2015, $375 million. 2016, $385 million. Stayed the same in 2017, flat at $385 million. 2018 fiscal year, $410 million. 2019, $415 million. 2020, $440 million. Plus $50 million in pandemic relief funding. In 2021 fiscal year, $456 million. And then when I took over as chairman, I upped that to $489 million in fiscal year 2022, plus $40 million in disaster relief funding. And then last year, the capper, we went from $489 million to $560 million. For fiscal year 2023, plus $20 million more in disaster relief funding. This is a nation of laws, and the way to keep the laws from being perverted, from being used in the wrong way, is to make sure that people have access to legal services, people who can look at the situation and assess the legal rights and responsibilities of the parties in the correct way. So I'm here to say I'm proud to be a lawyer, and I'm proud to support the Legal Services Corporation. Thank you all for listening.